konuklar, ticaret dünyasının seçkin temsilcileri, sevgili basın mensupları. Türkiye Cumhuriyeti Ticaret Bakanlığı'nın himayelerinde Türkiye İhracatçılar Meclisi'nin işbirliğiyle Elektronik Ticaret İşletmecileri Derneği ETİT'in koordinasyonunda gerçekleştirilen İstanbul Küresel E-İhracat Zirvesi'nin ikinci gününe hepiniz hoş geldiniz. Herkese günaydınlar. Ben sunucunuz Burcu Kemal. Dün olduğu gibi bugün de Eyüp Auditorium'unda sizlerle birlikte olmaktan mutluluk duyuyorum. Dün olduğu gibi bugün de Eyüp Auditorium'unda çok değerli konuşmacılara, panellere ve ufuk açıcı fikirlere sahne olacağını düşünüyorum bu güzel ortamın. Programımıza çok değerli bir konuşmacımızla başlayacağız. Malumunuz E-ihracatta güçlü bir altyapı oluşturmak çok önemli. Bu oturumda iyi bir altyapının sunulabileceği gelişmiş verimlilik, ölçeklenebilirlik ve rekabet avantajı gibi fırsatları anlatmak üzere sahneye çok değerli bir ismi davet edeceğim. E-ticaret, dijital pazarlama ve fintech entegrasyonu alanındaki derin bilgi ve deneyime sahip ChallengeEngine.com'un kurucusu ve CEO'su Mr. Jorrit Steinz sahneye geliyor olacaklar. Now I would like to invite to the stage Mr. John Steinz for his presentation. Welcome, welcome, good morning.
Thank you. Good morning all. Good morning. I hope you guys are enjoying this event as much as I do. We've got 15 minutes to go through some important stuff to go cross-border. And there's a massive opportunity. I see some familiar faces in the audience, that's always great. A little bit context about Channel Engine, founded in 2013, because I was running an e-commerce operations and we needed these connections to the different marketplaces, and it wasn't there. So in the meantime, we grew a lot. Got a team of over 200 people across the globe with offices everywhere to be able to connect to all the different marketplaces out there. And at the moment, that's around 950 marketplaces worldwide. And why is that so important? If you look at all of e-commerce, it grew to 6.3 trillion US dollars last year, 6.3 million US dollars. And 75% is going through marketplaces or a drop shipment model. So somehow you need to connect to these different platforms to be able to enjoy that. And why is that so much? A lot of product searches at the moment already take place on marketplaces, and they start on marketplaces. Think of Amazon About You, Zalando, and there are so many across the globe. But even if you search in Google, you will find these big marketplaces. Or you will find large retailers, and all these retailers are becoming a marketplace as well, especially the last couple of years. High interest rates, all these retailers don't want to have this inventory on the balance sheet, so they're all opening up marketplaces. So that's a massive opportunity for different brands throughout the world. And of course, social media, TikTok, Instagram has grown a lot, especially with the new generations, and they all became a marketplace as well. So you can start selling on these platforms just like it's on Zalando or Amazon. We're talking about cross-border, being able to export. At the moment, already 3 out of 4 consumers buy something cross-border each year. And if you count that total amount, it's a staggering 1 trillion, 1 million in 2024 already. Massive amount, massive opportunity to tap into. A lot of companies are already doing it, but I see a lot of brands just doing it a tiny, tiny bit. And to do this well, it's easiest and fastest to do that on marketplaces, to get into a new area and start selling there. What does it look like? Lots of marketplaces. This is not a full list. There are many more marketplaces worldwide, but just to give you an overview, lots of marketplaces and different local leaders in Europe, North America, UAE, Saudi, Southeast Asia, etc. And this provides the opportunity to sell on these different markets, but it's also a complexity. And that's why we're talking about how are you going to do that? What does it take to sell effectively on these different platforms? Because a marketplace is not just that simple. If you look at, for instance, Amazon, but same counts for Zalando and many other marketplaces, they started as a retailer. They started buying products from brands. That's what we call the 1P or vendor model. And then all of them opened up the 3P model, the seller model. And then there are different ways to work with these different models. It can be channel fulfilled. Most well known is FBA, fulfillment by Amazon. But it can also be merchant fulfilled, seller fulfilled prime. So if you're shipping it yourself with the labels of the marketplace, and these all have different pros and cons we need to dive into. Plus, you need to make the choice and then make sure you automate it well. Because there are some core pillars you need to have under control to be able to be successful on these different marketplaces. First of all, product information. If your product information is not attractive, not correct, not with the right attributes, it's super hard for consumers to find your product on these marketplaces. It needs to be localized in the right languages. You need to have all these attributes, so if people filter, your product stands out. Of course, pricing and promotion. I know a lot of marketplaces are driven by promotions. Peak season, 9/9, 10/10, 11/11, Southeast Asia, Prime Day, Black Friday, etc. But also regular promotions. And then that's just the start, because the marketplace needs to know how much inventory do you have. We need to make sure that the orders are synchronizing, so there's no manual work, especially if you're successful. It's going to be very hard. And you need to do inventory management, and every region needs to have different locations to ship from in an optimal solution. And of course, reporting and analytics, because you need to know what you're doing, so you can optimize and grow further. And finally, all these different platforms have different integrations and different requirements, so it is essential to be fully integrated. And what we ran into, and that's why we built the solution, is that we had to build all these separate integrations for all these different platforms, and that's super hard to do. Plus, you need a control panel to do that well. So what does it typically look like? You don't have to connect all these different platforms on the left, but if you already have an e-commerce solution in place in a certain region, a direct-to-consumer solution, then you probably have your fulfillment and your ERP connected already, your product information, so we can tap directly into an e-commerce platform and extend that to all the different marketplaces in the various regions. If you don't have your own e-commerce platform on that side, typically we connect to the PIM system, product information management system. That information flows into Channel Engine or any other marketplace integrator. Of course, I recommend ours. And then the product information gets translated to the requirements of the marketplace. We can do that at scale, so ranging from a couple of thousand products to hundreds of thousands of products across many, many marketplaces at the same time. And then it's important to connect to your own warehouse, so the marketplace knows how much do you have in stock, or you can use fulfillment by the marketplace. And as soon as you run out of the stock on those marketplaces, we can switch automatically to your own fulfillment warehouse or a third-party logistics providers. And we've got a massive network of great 3PLs that can help ship your products throughout the world. And then in the middle, you need to be able to manage it all, because typically you don't want to sell all the products on all the different platforms. Sometimes it's not profitable if the items are cheap, so you need to update there. Some strategic choices if you want to grow cross-border. First of all, which region are you going to do first? So you can look at country or region fit. Think of, is your product already known? Is there already brand awareness? Do you already have a web shop in place? And of course, are you already doing wholesale business or your own? Look at the marketplaces, monthly visit, target audience, expected GMV. Sometimes it's not the best to start selling on the biggest marketplace. Everybody jumps to Amazon, but you also have competition against 600 million products. So make sure your products are found on that platform. It's harder than when you go to a very focused marketplace where there's less competition, less products, but there's a massive opportunity because there are specific groups of people. Things to take into account, also commission rates, shipment costs, and return rates. They differ massively across platforms, especially return rates in fashion can differ enormously. Germany has a lot of return rates historically, so take that into account in your whole P&L, but also look at the product selection, but we'll come back to that. And then operationally, so setting this up seems daunting, but now it's much easier than it used to be many years ago, because partners like us and many partners are already pre-integrated and have done this route before. So you can lean on that expertise and the current infrastructure. But if it's harder to do, if you want to go to a region where you don't have any entity yet, you need to set up an entity to get a seller account. You need to make sure your VAT registration is there. But you can also rely on some partners, merchant of records. And a merchant of record is a company that has their own seller account on a marketplace. Typically also has logistics capability, customer service capability, and some marketplace expertise. So they can help you just launch in a new region. And then later on you can transition to doing it yourself through your own connectivity to the different marketplaces. Some best practices. If you launch in a new region, I always recommend to start small. Doesn't mean start on a small marketplace, but start on a marketplace that you know is mature. Start with a small collection so you can do end-to-end testing, see if the delivery is there, and then scale from there. Most common pitfall is that a lot of people start with 3 or 4 marketplaces at the same time before they have the processes down. And it doesn't have to take a long time, so you can test or pilot for a couple of weeks. If it works well, then you can scale up to other marketplaces in other regions. But make sure the processes are there, because the marketplaces count on a very good customer experience. So if you say you have it in stock, make sure you have it in stock. Because if a marketplace notices that you get an order and cancel it because it isn't in stock, and you have that over 0.5%, you will get penalties and you will get kicked off the platform. So make sure that process is there before you start scaling. Another one, leverage partners. I see a lot of companies trying to do it themselves, especially if you're a brand and you have a B2B warehouse that's not suited for direct-to-consumer. Just leverage partners that already do this at scale. Leverage partners that can set up entities, that can help you with tax, that can help you with customer service. And that way you can get the fastest way to a successful cross-border launch. Once you're launched, you can develop in multiple regions. First of all, once you're on a marketplace, of course, optimize that live channel. Do that first, before you run into many other channels. Make sure your products are found, that the customer experience is there, build up the reviews, etc. And then expand either into new marketplaces or new products on that marketplace and grow from there. Super important, once you're live, optimize your product information. Maybe change the tone of voice on different marketplaces to suit the audience. Make sure you keep track of your reviews and make sure you answer them as well, because that helps you. And then you can leverage the advertising modules on these different marketplaces to boost your product. Because if people cannot find it, they will not order it. And if you don't do that, then it's a waste of your whole effort. And one of the most common pitfalls I see is that people allocate a very small budget over months. But a marketplace is like a search engine, so it's better to front load it with advertisement. And if people find your product, start buying it, and the conversion rate is high, you will be found by others organically as well. I know there's a lot of information and there's just 15 minutes. Just scan this QR code if you're interested. We have a lot of resources, starter kits, P&L lists. You can download for free and check it out if you want to launch in the different regions. Also feel free to walk up to me after this session, or my colleague Olu over there in the back. We are always happy to help you with any strategic challenges, but also operationally, how are you going to set it up, etc. And then I have a last slide, because I'm also always interested in, do you guys have any questions about this topic that others can learn from as well? Go ahead. Thank you. Absolutely not. So some challenges, I think many of you guys are in technology, so connecting different interfaces is not only a challenge because sometimes the marketplaces are not mature or it's very outdated technology. Documentation is not correct and stuff like that, but it's also building this trust with the marketplace. So we work very closely together with those teams. And in the beginning, you don't have any brands, and then you go to a marketplace and you say, what brands do you have? It's like, oh, we don't have any brands because we don't have the marketplace. And then you go to brands, it's like, oh, which marketplace do you have? Oh, we don't have any marketplace. So that chicken and egg situation, that's the hardest to crack. And once you go over a certain threshold and have some amazing brands on your platform, it gets easier over time. And for me, I think it was 5 years ago when the first marketplace approaches us, can we please be part of your network because we want brand X, Y, and Z and they only want to connect through you. So then you create that whole network, get more quality partners. And I'm a big believer in doing what you do best as a company. Focus on the technology for us and then have a massive amount of great partners that can help out because it's not easy to do e-commerce at scale. So that's what we've been building over the years. And 950 marketplaces is a lot of work. Not only connecting new ones, updating APIs and stuff like that, and that only works if you do this at scale, because otherwise it's not worth it. So that's what we're building very rapidly, so hopefully some of your companies want to connect to the network as well, and then we can grow it even further and keep on innovating. Any other questions? I think I have time for one more question. No questions about cross-border e-commerce. That's interesting. Feel free to reach out directly to Olu or to me, and then I wish you a very good and happy conference for the rest of the day. Thank you, guys.
Much. Thank you, Stein.